Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel for the long-awaited Ranking the Ninjago Seasons video. Here's how it's going to work. Well, I'll be ranking every single Ninjago season from worst to best. This will be excluding things like Wu's Teas and Day of the Departed for obvious reasons. This list will of course all be completely my own opinion, so please bear that in mind before we start this video. So, without further ado, please drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get straight into this. Okay, so coming in at the bottom spot of my list is Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu, aka Season 11. Now, honestly, I dislike this season for many reasons. Coming straight out of the Oni trilogy, us as fans expected more, but all we got was some crappy season, meant primarily for younger fans, and honestly felt like a slap in the face for the older fans. The filler episodes were awful too. It was also placed really weirdly and didn't feel right at all. Asphira was not a great villain at all either, one of the weakest in my opinion, as all she wanted was revenge, which was understandable for her as a character, but that was literally it, and she wouldn't stop whining about it in every episode she was in. The Fire chapter had lots of issues that I just couldn't get past at all, to be honest. As for the Ice chapter, well, I thought it was a solid Ninjago installment, minus the filler episodes of course. Zane being the Ice Emperor was good, but not great, and yeah, all things considered, this season as a whole was just pretty bad. Next up, in the number 12 spot, I have March of the Oni, or of course, just Season 10. Now, this season definitely had huge potential if it had more episodes. This season was of course the shortest Ninjago season we have ever received. Coming in at just 4 episodes, it didn't have quite enough time to fully flesh everything out. Omega was great, but still severely underdeveloped, and the same goes for the Oni as a whole. We were all expecting more, and all we received was some mindless, pure evil warriors, which is what they were going for, but they were just pretty boring, and we expected more. Obviously there are good parts and phenomenal scenes here, such as great Lloyd and Garmadon moments. Cold's Fall was really pointless, and if anything, it took away from some episodes when that could have been going towards more development for the Omega and the Oni army as a whole. So yeah, overall an extremely meh season that had great potential, but unfortunately couldn't live up to the hype due to only having 4 episodes. Number 11, The Hands of Time. Now, this season is a very interesting one for me personally. When I first watched it the first few times a few years back, I enjoyed it a lot, but recently, as I've rewatched it more and more, I just notice all the flaws it has. Let me get this out of the way first. The animation, I personally didn't have a problem with it. Sure, it was slightly worse than, say, Season 6, but it was good enough and didn't affect my experience with this season. One big issue I have with it, though, is the episodes. They just felt boring and lacking in lots and lots of different areas, and I just don't have that much of a great time actually watching it, if I'm being honest. The Time Twins were great in my opinion, especially Acronyx. What really stood out to me with this season was definitely the finale. It's definitely up there with one of my favourite finales to date, and so much was going on with it, and it just did everything the correct way. Although I do wish we got a follow-up to Season 7, that would have been so great. Next up here we have Prime Empire, and let me start this off by saying I do enjoy this season a lot, and I love it a lot for what it's trying to be. It's just that I prefer lots of other seasons over this one. So Prime Empire is definitely the second best season of quote-unquote new Ninjago, if you will. It completely knocked it out of the park with the animation inside the game world of Prime Empire and the game itself. Such a wacky and crazy idea, but they actually made it work. Unagami was a great villain. He had his fair share of flaws, of course, but he was unique and, in a way, not even a proper villain, and that was great and a breath of fresh air for Ninjago villains, which is definitely what we needed. Another thing with Prime Empire, it doesn't really have any meaning for future seasons, but it was its own adventure, and that's all it was really trying to be, and it just worked so well. Number 9, Rebooted, the OG technology-themed season, of course. Now, this season was pretty great to me personally. I know this is kind of a controversial season. Some love it, some hate it. I'm honestly really in the middle on this one. I enjoyed it, but in a way, I don't think it was really necessary to see him back so soon. And I would have preferred to see the Overlord come back in a much later season. Now, this season did also have some amazing aspects to it. such as Pythor returning in a very secretive way, Tech Woo, although that could have been expanded on, and the idea as a whole was very, very new. Different, and yeah, it was just big changes for Ninjago. I know a minority of people can't really get on board with this season and its heavy focus on technology, but I'm okay with it. Although having new Ninjago City was cool, it only really stuck around for that season, which I didn't like very much. Still, overall, a solid Ninjago installment. Number 8, Legacy of the Green Ninja. Now, this season is a very solid installment of Ninjago, if I do say so myself. It got off to a very interesting start, to say the least, with the filler episodes. Although they were just filler episodes, I still found them to be very entertaining to watch, and nowhere near as bad as Season 11's filler episodes, that's for sure. So, that part was pretty good, but as we move over to the Dark Island stuff, yeah, that's when we really kick things up a notch. We see Overlord in spirit form for the first time, and that whole arc was amazing. Lloyd was pretty amazing in the season too. We really got more time to see the Green Ninja in action here. And how could I possibly not mention the finale? The finale was amazing. Although I find it to be severely overrated, seeing the Golden Ninja was such a magical and fantastic moment for the series as a whole, and is something that will always stick out to me when I think of Ninjago. Right, so next we have a very controversial spot on this list, I'd say. But here I do actually have Season 8 of Ninjago, Sons of Garmadon. So before you all dislike and leave a hate comment, I would like to say this. I thought this season was really great, and I genuinely did enjoy the very dark and dismal tone the season had a lot. It was something very different and did wonders for the Ninjago community. Mr. E was awesome, although he didn't end up being Echo Zane in the show. I see why they decided to remove that. And the villains as a whole were just top tier, and I absolutely loved seeing their motives. Resurrecting Garmadon as a whole was a very risky move for the show if you ask me, but the fantastic writers made it work, and definitely pleased 99% of the fans for sure, and overall made an extremely memorable season. Number 6, Hunted, or Season 9, the sequel to Sons of Garmadon. Now, this season was a direct continuation of Sons of Garmadon and expanded on the Oni trilogy all round, and I love this one more if I'm being honest. This was the only season we ever received where it was split into 2 storylines, and I think that worked out a lot here, and made the season so much more unique and interesting all round. I thoroughly enjoyed both storylines that went on with it too. This season also had an extremely dark tone, which I was 100% a fan of, and some scenes were just so memorable to me. So yeah, overall, a really fabulous Ninjago installment yet again. Number 5, Tournament of Elements. Now this season is really top tier. As I just rewatched this season recently, it climbed up my rankings even more luckily, and I've got to say, it's a fabulous season. The concept of other elemental masters was also a bit weird to me, and some powers were a bit of a stretch, but they definitely made it work for the better. Chen is the main villain. Now, while he's not my complete favourite villain at all, I think he works for this season and is still one of the most unique Ninjago villains to date. Klaus was great too though. Some of the storytelling in the season was amazing, honestly. Ninjago wouldn't even exist as we know it without Chen, so we have to thank him for that one. And now, making it into the number 4 spot on my list is the brand new installment of Ninjago, Master of the Mountain, or Season 13. And honestly, what a fantastic season overall. Sure, it had its downsides in the middle of the season, but let's be honest, every season has its fair share of downsides, but other than that, I'd say I love everything about this season overall. Vanilla was cool, the Skull Sorcerer was great. It's true that he may have been a little bland, but I can get past it as him and his motives are really unique and interesting and will actually lead us into Season 14, which is something we've been missing and wanting to see for about 3 seasons now. Overall, another top tier season, but if you'd like to see my full thoughts, then check out my Season 13 review. Well, now we're entering my top 3. Let's kick things up a notch here. Season 1, Rise of the Snakes. Now, in my opinion, this season is absolutely perfect, and I couldn't have asked for more with it at all. The pacing is just completely perfect and feels right. The character development was great too. Pythor and the rest of the Serpentine were really excellent. The Green Ninja was of course implemented along here, and that was great too. Not much else to say here other than the fact that this season was absolutely fantastic and I really couldn't have asked for more. This season is just an easy 10 out of 10. Number 2, Season 5, Possession. Another absolute god tier Ninjago season in my opinion. Another easy 10 out of 10. The concept of a ninja being possessed and actually going against the other ninja was phenomenal to see at that time. Especially with it being Lloyd, that was great to see. The humour was on point basically all throughout this entire season 2. And yeah, I'd say that just about every ninja was pretty amazing in the season 2. The concept of ghosts in Ninjago was cool too, and the City of Styx is one of my favourite Ninjago locations to this day. So yeah, like Rise of the Snakes, I can't say much about this season, other than the fact it's amazing. Top tier stuff. And now, for the moment I'm sure you've all been waiting for. For those that know me, you'll already know what's in this spot. Of course, the number 1 spot just had to go to Season 6, Skybound. Now, I'll agree this season got off to a pretty rough start. The ninja randomly being huge celebrities in Ninjago like that felt slightly too convenient for my liking, but pushing those episodes aside, I thought this season was absolutely phenomenal in many ways. Every episode was just so superb, and I don't exactly have any bad things to say about the rest of the episodes. Nadokhan was of course the highlight of this season by far for me personally. I thought he was really awesome, and is in his own league for me in terms of villain rankings. Such a great villain. The Sky Pirates were great to see too, and overall, Nadokhan as a person and his motives were phenomenal, and really entertaining to see play out throughout this season. So there it is. I hope you all did enjoy this video. If you did, please drop a like on the video. Please also subscribe to the channel for many more videos just like this one. I truly appreciate every single one of you that show support on my videos. I also have a Discord server and an Instagram. Link to those are on the end cards of this video and in the description. So yeah, with all of this finally being said, I will see you all next time.